Peru. Attorney General meets with US high-level group. Attorney General Patricia Benavides on Monday held a meeting with members of the high-level group appointed by the Permanent Council on the Organization of American States (OAS) to analyze the situation in Peru in the context of its visit to the country. At the meeting, the head of the public ministry was accompanied by the Deputy Supreme Prosecutor Marco Guaman, as well as senior prosecutors Karina Quineche and Marita Barreto. Precised the high-level group of the OAS Permanent Council to analyze the situation in Peru will hold working meetings in Lima on November 21st and 22, with various institutions and actors of the national scene in order to gather comprehensive information on the political situation in the country. During the meeting, Benavides stated that the preliminary investigation and constitutional complaint present before Congress against the President of the Republic, Pedro Castillo, have been carried out within the constitutional framework and international treaties to which Peru is party, preserving the due process and under the scrutiny of the judiciary. This constitutional complaint, she said, is supported by sufficient evidence gathered by the Commission of the Crimes under investigation. The Congress of the Republic has exclusive power to determine if it approves it or not. Such decision will depend on the progress made during the investigation in the preparatory stage. In this regard, the Attorney General noted that public ministries' actions are based on the unrestricted and scrupulous respect for the rule and law. Moreover, the head of the public ministry emphasized that the separation and independence of public powers is an essential element of representative democracy, which is recognized in the Peruvian Constitution and Article 3 of the Inter-American Democratic Charter of the OAS. As is known, the mission's visit to Peru was stipulated in a resolution approved by the OAS Permanent Council of the Peruvian government requests the OAS to activate the Inter-American Democratic Charter. And other news in Peru. Peru country risk reached 201 basis points. The MBG Peru spread fell 10 basis points to 201 BPC, while the MBG Latin American spread fell 26 BPC to 267 BPC between November 9 and 16, the Central Reserve Bank reported. This occurred in a context of returning risk appetite due to expectation of lower interest rate hikes by the Fed due to lower inflation in the United States. The interest rate on Peruvian 10 years sovereign bonds, which increased 23 BPC between November 9 and November 16, remains one of the lowest in the region. The country ranks and measures the ability of a country to meet its financial obligation and the implicit political rights, and based on that receives an international credit rating. The main consequences of a high country risks are a drop in foreign investment and lower economic growth, which could lead to unemployment and low wages. This is an orientation index for investors because it indicates the risk of doing business in country is more or less high. It should be noted that the higher the risks, the less likely projects obtain a return in accordance with funds, and the lower this index is, the more attractive the country will be to investors. The index is measured based on the difference between the spread of Peru sovereign bonds over yields of United States Treasury bonds. Other news political in Peru. President Castillo country's records have to be for Peruvians. The President of the Republic, Pedro Castillo, on Monday affirmed that the country's records, such as natural gas, have to be for Peruvians, mainly for the most vulnerable. His remark came during the ceremony marking the installation the 1.5 million natural gas connection milestone in Lima and Callao, in the district of Comas. This natural gas connection was provided for the benefit of the country's safe development center for families, called Año Nuevo or New Year. The dignitary remarked that his government is working together with the private sector to achieve said goal. Uh, Peru's records have to be for Peruvians, and that is what we are doing. We are undertaking a joint effort with private industry and state, but doing things right, the country's top official said in his speech. Likewise, he called for change areas beyond Lima and Callao, so that these important records can spread to more regions across the country. On the other hand, the president commented that he talking to Colombian President Gustavo Petro to exchange experience in this regard, as natural gas in Hungary spread inside country. From here, I want to address the newly elected authorities, mayors and regional governors, so that together we can pay attention to citizens and their major needs, he stated. Finally, news political in Peru. Peru Congress Chairman receives OAS high-level group. Peru's Congress Chairman Jose William Zapata on Monday received the mission of the Organization of American States (OAS) in the context of its visit to the country. Afterwards, the Congress board held a meeting with the members of the high-level group of the OAS Permanent Council in the Miguel Grau room at the Peruvian Congress building in Lima. The mission was welcomed at the gates of the Legislative Palace by Parliament senior official Jose Sebasco. Precised the high-level group of the OAS Permanent Council to analyze the situation in Peru will hold working meetings in Lima on November 21st and 22 with various institutions and actors of the national scene in order to gather comprehensive information on the political situation in country. The objective of the visit is to listen to as many voices as possible in order to gather pertinent information with which to prepare a report that will later be presented to Permanent Council and the organization headquarters in Washington, D.C. The group was created following a request of the government of Peru, addressing to the OAS Permanent Commission to convene a special meeting in accordance with the provisions of the Inter-American Democratic Charter.